If you think that building muscle is easy, and quite simply, the stronger you are, the more muscle you have, I'm about to take you for a ride because it's not as clear cut as you may think. Yes, there's a correlation. Usually, if you have more muscle, you're going to be stronger, and if you're getting stronger, you're building more muscle. But we have plenty of examples all over the world and in different sports where that is not necessarily the case. Let's look at MMA fighters. Pound for pound, they're way stronger than me, right? They're a smaller stature, they have less muscle, but they're much, much stronger. Number one. On the flip side, there's plenty of bodybuilders who are twice my size, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna be stronger than me or that MMA fighter. So what we come down to is what is strength, and is strength necessarily the most important thing for muscle building? The simple answer is yes, strength is important and it is a measure, but it is not the end all be all. What tends to happen when we focus on strength is we chase the logbook. We're trying to increase the amount of reps, increase the amount of weight. Every single time we go in the gym, what tends to happen? Our form starts to deteriorate, our control starts to deteriorate, we start to overcompensate and start to build imbalances. This, at the end of the day, is not going to be what's optimal for muscle growth. So while I do think having a logbook and tracking these numbers is important, and over time, seeing an increase in strength does usually correlate to building muscle, there are other ways that you can create adaptation or progressive overload without just increasing the weight or the amount of reps. And that's what I want to focus on today. How do we increase muscle independent of strength? Let me give you another perfect analogy. If the scale goes up or down, does that mean you're burning fat or gaining fat? No, it really doesn't. Now, the scale in conjunction with visual or with pictures or with body tape measurements or with body fat measurements, that's a better indication. You can think of the scale and strength as kind of the same piece or same amount of information with two differing results, right? When we look at a fat loss goal, the scale gives us an indication that we're moving in the right direction, but it doesn't necessarily tell us what that weight is comprised of. Same thing with the strength. If we're gaining strength, we can kind of assume that we might be getting stronger, obviously, because the weight's going up, and that we might be putting on muscle, but we don't know for sure. There could be a lot of reasons why that strength's going up. We could be compensating, we could be cheating, we could be feeling better that day, we could be putting on just general body weight so we have more leverage. That's why we don't want to look at solely strength. Let's talk about the ways that you can actually improve your training, increase muscle, increase that signal or that stimulus without actually increasing the weight, which I think is the most safe. You always want to do the most with the least. If I can train with lighter weights that I can control and keep me injury free and still get the same, if not more muscle building capability from that, that's what I'm gonna do. Right, because if you're just chasing the logbook, eventually you're gonna be so strong, your tendons and joints and ligaments are going to be so beat down because all you've done is increase the weight that you're going to be limited, you're gonna be capped. And anyway, once you get to that point, you're going to have so many imbalances and overcompensation with stronger muscles taking over the weaker ones that you're gonna need to take a step back anyway. I would say take it down to the first rep. Every rep should be perfect. So the quality of the reps, starting with rep 1, is one way that you can improve. The tempo or control is another way that you can improve without having to get stronger. The forcefulness of the contraction, your voluntary squeeze, your ability to squeeze that muscle at all points of movement is another way. You can look at volume, you can look at frequency. These are all ways to do it. So in short, strength is something that you should look to attain. There is a correlation, remember, not causation. There's two different things. Correlation is there's a relation, it could be, it can't be. Causation is yes, this causes that. There's a correlation between strength and muscle. Your goal should be to get stronger, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the end all be all. You don't want to try to achieve that goal and sacrifice everything on the backside. If I'm getting stronger, but the quality of my training, my recovery, and my execution is worse, I'm not going to put on muscle, and if I do put on muscle, it's not where I want to execute. Most people, including myself, over the years have had a tough time building chest muscle, okay? That is because it is very easy to overcompensate with the front delts and the triceps, especially in execution, if you're chasing the logbook. Your delts and your tris might get stronger in order to push that weight, but your chest has not improved at any point because it doesn't get that direct stimulus. So as you get stronger and stronger and stronger, put on more weight, or like in a row, and your traps and biceps get stronger, but your lats and middle traps and rhomboids get weak, you're starting to now see that there's a trend that the weight might increase, your strength might increase, subject to logbook, but the actual stimulus on the muscle we're not trying to build. Now, if your overall goal is strength, sure, just keep chasing the logbook. I would argue, though, that your ceiling is going to be higher if you can make quality execution of those reps. If you just get stronger for the sake of however you get the weight up, for instance, like the bench press, what have you got to do to get it up? If you're not working on your technique and the quality of the repetition, you're going to cap yourself a lot sooner. So that's why it's better to take a step back. It's excellent. This is another, Shameless plug to get a coach. I've had a coach my whole career. I have 2 coaches currently, one specifically for my training, because training is that important. You need somebody to pull the reins back. It's very easy to get in your head and your ego lifting and try to improve on the logbook as your only measure of progress. But if you continue to focus on the quality of the repetitions in your sets, you're not going to need to chase the strength as much. If you like this information and would like some more on topics just like these or other fitness and nutrition topics, make sure to hit the subscribe button on my channel. And if you'd like to know what it would take to work with my team and I on one-on-one coaching and would like more information, please fill out the application in my bio or send me a direct DM if I sent this video to you saying the words "I'm in," and I'll know that means that you're looking for more information.